advisory board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just keep thinking about all of us having gone to schools or served on committees or doing things that are not, when we're not the decision makers about things, and if we were all held responsible for that, I don't think any of us would be up here. So I want to start with you, Mr. Mangi. Could you talk about your years of experience, your trailblazing nomination we know about? Can you talk a little bit, I see your proud family behind you, of your family's history and how that has influenced your view of the rule of law?
Thank you, Senator. Senator, I grew up in Pakistan, and that is a country, the people of whom I love dearly. It's part of my heritage, it's part of my history. But a big part of my experience growing up was seeing that in that country, if your rights are violated, there is often no recourse, there is no remedy, and the legal system will not come to your aid. Indeed, the legal system will often be the one that's oppressing you in the first place, particularly if you're a woman or a minority. And that experience impressed upon me so deeply the value of being in a country and in a place where if your rights have been trampled upon, like in the case of the Islamic Society of Basking Ridge I mentioned earlier, you can go to the courts and you can get recourse. And for me, that is what the conception of justice is all about. And let me add, Senator, responding to your predicate, I have a history of 23 years now in this country as a lawyer working on various causes that are important to me. And I'm ready to...
In the private sector, correct? For many
Yes, Senator. And I'm happy to answer for any decision I've made, any statement I have made. But it has to be something that I've done.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And we do appreciate, I'm sure you've heard, the mosque in Minnesota that got bombed. FBI actually investigated, found the guy that did it. So appreciate your work on that front, as does our Muslim community. Ms. Berner, one thing we haven't talked much about is your work on domestic violence. And the committee received a letter of support for your nomination from the National Task Force to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, which praised your background and experience with issues of domestic violence and sexual assault. Former prosecutor, we worked on a lot of these cases, had a domestic violence service center in my office that was very well known nationally. Can you talk more about your work to protect victims of domestic violence and sexual assault?
Good morning, Senator, and thank you for your question. Before I went to law school, I was the director of a national organization in Israel to fight domestic violence and sexual assault of women. And it was in that capacity that I first came to meet attorneys. I had had no lawyers in my family, and I had not previously known any attorneys. And I saw the power that the law can bring to protect those who are not always able to protect themselves, to advocate on behalf of women and families and children. And I was inspired by that work to apply to law school and to become a lawyer.
Okay, very good. And I know the committee received a letter of support for your nomination from the International Brotherhood of Police Officers. They praised your work on behalf of law enforcement, as well as your excellent legal talent, deep listening skills, and collaborative and fair approach. Can you talk about the work that you've done in law enforcement outside of domestic violence?
Yes, Senator. I have been proud to represent tens of thousands of police officers and correctional officers from around the United States. I have deep respect for their role in our society, their courage, and their commitment to protect communities. And it has been my honor to protect those members of SEIU and to work closely with union members from every industry in our country. And I am humbled by the support from different unions that have come to support my nomination, including police unions and firefighters and other unions that have come to support my nomination. It has been truly humbling.
Thank you very much.